Have you ever wondered if vampires were real? What if I told you that in the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, among the ash-preserved ruins of Pompeii, archaeologists unearthed something truly chilling? Skeletons that seemed to tell a story straight out of a horror movie. Remains that looked like they had been attacked by ancient vampires. But what's the real story behind these so-called vampire burials of Pompeii? Is it a case of supernatural predators? Or is there a more human, yet equally fascinating, explanation? Today, we're digging deep into the dust of history to uncover a tale of fear, superstition, and the desperate measures ancient Romans took to keep the dead. Well, dead. Get ready, because the truth is stranger than any legend. So, let's set the scene. Imagine you're an archaeologist in Pompeii. You're carefully excavating a burial site, brushing away centuries of volcanic ash. You expect to find typical Roman burials, but instead, you find something profoundly unsettling. In one case, a young child was discovered buried with a large stone wedged firmly into their mouth. Why would anyone do this? In other sites across Italy from a similar period, bodies have been found pinned down with rocks, dismembered, or even with nails driven through their limbs. It's a grisly sight, and it immediately sparks the question, what were these people so afraid of? These weren't isolated incidents. Similar burials have been found in various locations, from Venice to the heart of Rome. One of the most famous is the Vampire of Lugnano, the remains of a 10-year-old child from the 5th century, discovered with a rock intentionally placed in its jaw. The prevailing theory among experts is that these weren't punishments for crimes committed in life. Instead, they were terrifying rituals, performed out of a deep-seated fear of the deceased rising from the grave. The Romans, for all their engineering marvels and sophisticated society, had a profound terror of what they called the revenant asterisk, the one who returns. They believed that certain individuals, perhaps those who died from a mysterious plague, or were considered social outcasts, could come back as malevolent spirits to prey on the living, spread disease, and drain their life force. Sound familiar? While they didn't use the word vampire, the concept is strikingly similar. The stone in the mouth? It was likely meant to physically prevent the corpse from gnawing its way out of the grave or from using its breath to spread pestilence. The nails and rocks? Simple. To pin the restless soul to the earth, ensuring it could never walk again. It's a powerful physical manifestation of a society grappling with fears they couldn't explain. This brings us to the core of Roman belief systems. Their world was a complex tapestry woven from logic, religion, and deep-rooted superstition. While they had their pantheon of gods and goddesses, there was also a pervasive belief in magic, curses, and restless spirits known as *Lemuries*. These were the ghosts of those who had met a violent or untimely end, and they were thought to wander the earth, tormenting their living relatives. To appease these spirits, Romans held a festival called the *Lemuria* each May, where the head of the household would perform rituals to purify the home and drive the malevolent ghosts away. These rituals involved throwing black beans over one guest's shoulder and clanging bronze pots to scare the spirits off. So, these vampire burials weren't about fighting Dracula. They were a practical, albeit gruesome, extension of these beliefs. When a community was struck by a plague they couldn't understand, panic set in. They looked for a scapegoat, and often, the first person to die from the illness was blamed for its spread, even after death. This person became what anthropologists call a shroud eater, a corpse believed to chew on its burial shroud from within the grave, magically causing its relatives to wither and die. The rituals we see in these burials were desperate preventative measures. They were a way for the living to regain a sense of control in a world filled with inexplicable death and disease. It's a fascinating look into the human psyche, showing how fear can shape even the most sacred rituals surrounding death. The blend of folklore and practical fear created a reality where the dead were a very real and present danger. The story of Pompeii's vampires is a stark reminder that our ancient ancestors lived in a world where the line between the natural was incredibly thin. Their fears, while expressed through rituals we find strange today, were born from the same fundamental human anxieties we still face, the fear of the unknown, of disease, and of death itself. But this is just one piece of the incredible puzzle of the ancient world. The Romans weren't just battling imaginary monsters. They were also building real-world marvels of technology that continue to baffle us. And that's exactly where we're headed next time. We're going to dive into the Aegean Sea to explore a discovery that completely rewrote the history of science. The Antikythera Mechanism. Often called the world's first analog computer, this intricate device of bronze gears and dials could predict astronomical positions and eclipses with astonishing precision. How did an ancient civilization create something so complex? What other secrets does it hold? To make sure you don't miss that incredible journey, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We have so many more ancient mysteries to uncover together. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.